Today on the Trent Out Loud podcast, we got breaking news. Sean P. Diddy Combs has been arrested. What up? It's your boy, Trent Out Loud, and I'm back with another episode. All right, it's Tuesday morning. I hope you guys are rested from Monday and ready for a huge show. We got breaking news. Sean P. Diddy Combs has been arrested. We're going to tell you in our breaking news segment all that we know so far. Sean P. Diddy Combs has been arrested. All right, after our breaking news, we're going to jump into our lead stories. In our first lead story, we finally have confirmation that Jay-Z was the one who selected Kendrick Lamar to be on the stage at Super Bowl. Then we're going to talk about Donald Trump blaming Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for his second assassination attempt. In our third lead story, Elon Musk talks about Kamala Harris and Joe Biden not getting assassination attempts. And then we're going to close out with the son of the man who tried to assassinate Donald Trump. He finally speaks out. After all that, we're going to jump into quick news. We're going to talk about Drake, Shannon Sharpe, Tito Jackson passing away at age 70, Kevin Hart, and Eve. Then we're going to close out the show as we always do with question of the day. I got a great question of the day for you today. And then we'll end off with a little bit of sports news. Y'all know what time it is. Turn your TVs, your radio, or your devices up. I'm about to start this show. Let's go. Breaking news. Sean P. Diddy Combs has been taken into federal custody in connection with alleged sex trafficking. According to TMZ, Diddy was taken into federal custody in New York City into an FBI field office in Manhattan. Reports state it appears the action was in connection with an ongoing criminal investigation into the sex trafficking along with other offenses. As previously reported, the allegations led to search warrants being issued and executed at Diddy's homes in Beverly Hills and Miami. Diddy's attorney released a statement saying this about his client. Sean P. Diddy Combs is an imperfect person, but he is not a criminal. He adds, to his credit, Mr. Combs has been nothing but cooperative in this investigation, and he voluntarily relocated to New York last week in anticipation of these charges. Please reserve your judgment until you hear all the facts. In addition, his lawyer says he looks forward to clearing Diddy's name in court. All right, so I'm going to tell you the things that I was able to gather up. It's going to be a little time sensitive because there's going to be things coming in on the hour, every hour. But here's what I got for you so far, all right? One, I said at the top he was arrested. He's technically not been arrested. He's been taken into custody. I think by the time you hear this, charges may have been laid. Not too sure yet, but he's been taken into custody. He will be arrested, okay? It's the first thing. Second thing is that he was taken into custody in a Manhattan hotel. Like you just heard from his lawyer's statement, they knew these charges were coming. So there's a lot of people in the comment section like, yeah, they finally got him, whatever, blah, blah. Like, they knew from the time his houses were being raided that he knew that this was going to happen, okay? And you could just tell by the fact that he was staying in this hotel room waiting for this to happen, probably so it wouldn't be as much of a spectacle. Let's say if he was in Miami or if he was at a party or somewhere. So there's going to be less pictures, less of an ordeal. And we knew that this office was held in Manhattan. So he went and stayed in Manhattan so there'd be less of a circus. That's another thing. A couple other things that I have for you and I think that are really, really, really important, okay? So we all know about the one video that we've seen of him and Cassie in a hotel room. I think it was in 2016 where you see him beating Cassie in the hotel room. Outside the elevator at the hotel. Now, just to be clear, that was outside of the statute of limitation. He cannot be charged for that, and that is assault. There's also a lot of allegations of sexual assault, okay? A couple of things to make clear. A lot of these civil suits, again, happen outside of the statute of limitation. So people are saying that it is not very likely that any of these charges will be laid against him, the assault or sexual assault that you hear in these civil suits. Another piece of evidence, or another part to the story which confirms that, is that if he were to be charged for if he were to be charged for sexual abuse or abuse, it wouldn't be in federal court. That's not a federal crime. It would be at the state level. The people who have him are the FBI. They're federal. So what people are saying is that he is probably going to be arraigned or charged for like a sex organization, like a sex trafficking, which is a lot worse than sexual assault. I'm not saying that sexual assault is not bad, but abuse, hitting Cassie, that's abuse. Sexual assault, that is, sexual assault, right? That is state. That would be the state of New York. The fact that this is the FBI and that he is being arraigned or being held by a federal branch, it is an indication that he will be charged as like a kingpin for a huge or a bigger organization, like a sex trafficking ring, or even like a RICO charge. This is huge. Basically, what I'm saying in layman's terms is if you're going to have to pick one or the other, it's a lesser charge or a lesser offense if it was state, if it was abuse or sexual assault. The fact that this is federal is way worse for him, okay? They're saying that he will, for those of you who are hearing this on CFQR600.com, it's 11 or 12 o'clock. He should be arraigned today. If you're hearing this on YouTube, I don't know what time you're hearing about it, but he was taken into custody Monday at around 10 p.m. They're saying it will take around 24 or 48 hours. So either Tuesday or Wednesday, he will be arraigned. They will place charges against him. We'll find out what those charges will be. Like I said, it's probably going to be an organization, a federal crime. And what else is one other thing? Oh, yes, is that now what everyone is going to wait to find out is that will he get bail? Kind of like Young Thug, where he is not getting bail, and all through his trial, he has to stay in jail. So Young Thug's been in jail almost for like a year and a half until his trial. He might get found not guilty, but he would have spent 2 years in jail. This is why I think Diddy has been so cooperative with law enforcement, because he knew these charges were coming. The more cooperative you are, the more that you show that you're willing not to flee, the show that you're willing not to fight. It's not only it won't only just work to his favor to help prove his innocence. Hey, I have nothing to hide. Sure, come search my house. Yes, what do you need? You need me for an interview? Hey, you need me to stay in New York? All of this stuff is really going to help him get bail. However, this is really high profile. This is sex trafficking. This has to do with abuse of power and with women. And there's a lot of attention on him. If they give him bail, I'm sure they're going to get a ton of backlash. There is a lot of people that do not want to see him out on bail. Even though you are innocent until proven guilty, I'm sure there's a lot of people. So it's going to be really interesting to see. This is up to the judge. It'll be very interesting to see if the judge more follows the letter of the law to say, hey, you know what? You're not a flight risk, because he's not that much of a flight risk. Like, he's P. Diddy. Where is he going to go and hide in the world? You know what I mean? Like, that's more for people maybe who have money and that are not known. You can go and fly somewhere. You might be a flight risk. Is he a flight risk? Yes, because he's super rich. He could fly out at any time he has money, but it'll be very, very hard for him to hide out. So I think he'll probably get bond, but I will not be surprised if he doesn't get bond, just because of the accusations and how much the public is invested in this. The last thing, and this is speculative, I'm not too sure. The last thing I heard is that he may be facing life. The charges that they're going to charge him for, they might be a maximum or minimum of life in prison. Yeah, you heard that right. Sean P. Diddy Combs may be facing life in prison, depending on the charges they apply. That's all that I have for now. Of course, we're going to talk about this tomorrow. We'll have a lot more to talk about, and I'm sure at the days ahead. If you guys know any information, please send me an email, trent@cfqr600.com. Comment below. or send me a DM. Just, make sure it's valid information. I'll try to get it on the air. Keep it locked all week. You guys know that I will bring you the up-to-date, real information. There's a lot of stuff going online. There's a lot more stuff I could have told you about right now, but I chose not to because it's very, very speculative. I was even hesitant to tell you about the life in prison because we don't know if that's true. So I'll do my due diligence and report. I do my journalism thing properly and make sure that I only report things that I know are factual. All right. So keep it locked to the Toronto Law Podcast for everything related to this P. Diddy case. And I will do my best to get you information as early and as quick as possible. All right. Let's go on to lead stories. The Super Bowl halftime show producer Jesse Collins praises Lil Wayne, but says Jay-Z made the right pick with Kendrick Lamar. I'm really sure that Jay-Z is not happy that he said this. But anyways, let's get into it. Another important party has entered the chat surrounding the Super Bowl halftime show. Jesse Collins and his production company, Jesse Collins Entertainment, are ready to bring Kendrick Lamar to 2025 Super Bowl halftime performance. On Tuesday, September 17th, Jesse Collins and Kendrick Lamar's team will meet for the first time in New Orleans to get the ball rolling on the highly anticipated event. As reported, there were some upset at the news regarding the halftime show because Lil Wayne, who is from New Orleans, was not selected to perform. Lil Wayne spoke out about how hurt he was by the entire thing. Jesse Collins addresses those disappointments with Variety and says, "We love Lil Wayne. There's always Vegas odds of who we're going to get to perform, but I think we're going to do an amazing show with Kendrick, and I think everybody is going to love the halftime show. I know Kendrick is going to work especially hard to deliver an amazing show." He continued and said, "It's a decision that Jay-Z makes. Since we've been on board with this show, he's made this decision every year, and it's amazing. He always picks right." Jay-Z has caught a lot of flack, and most notably from Nicki Minaj, over Lil Wayne not being selected to take part in the Super Bowl halftime show. There has been conflicting reports on who gets the final say in choosing the report, which some claiming Jay-Z does because he's in a partnership with the NFL. In 2019, the mogul, alongside Roc Nation, inked a deal with the league to become its live music entertainment strategist. All right, so there we go. The theory has been debunked. Jay-Z makes the decision on who it performs at the Super Bowl halftime show. So that's one thing out the way. I told you guys that from when this broke and everybody was talking about it. I saw things online where it's not just Jay-Z. He makes the selection. He's only one man. It's the city of New Orleans who has to say, and then it has to be the NFL. Yo, it's Jay-Z who gets the final say. Done. All right, we're going to end that argument. I will say, as a conspiracy theorist that I am, part of that article, he said that there's always Vegas odds on who gets to perform it. I will say that everybody and their mother would have bet that it would be Lil Wayne performing. Maybe there was so much money on Lil Wayne. Maybe Lil Wayne was even in on it, and it was like, yo, put a wager that you are not going to be the person, and maybe Lil Wayne is sitting down with maybe $50 million on this wager. Who knows? That's just my theory. I didn't read that anywhere. I'm just saying, if you think Lil Wayne is going to do it, the odds are going to be high. If you bet against them, you put a bet that it's not going to be Lil Wayne, and you cash in, and your odds will be extremely high. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? And then what else do I think about this? I think really that's it. I mean, honestly, to be honest with you, I'm really kind of tired of the whole conversation. Eric Dyson was on Breakfast Club yesterday talking about it. Like, Nicki Minaj still talks about it. She actually saw this article and she put a laughing emoji on Twitter about it. It's done, right? And I think one of the things that kind of made me kind of just realize like there's nothing really to talk about is, like I said, Michael Eric Dyson was saying today, we have just been spoiled since 2019 with Jay-Z being part of this, that like we're not even excited the fact that there's a rapper there. We're just like, oh, it should be this rapper, it should be that rapper. Whereas 10 years ago, we would be happy with any form of hip hop being on a stage. So look, I'm not the biggest Kendrick Lamar fan. Y'all know I ride for Drake all day, but at the end of the day, There is a rapper, there's a hip hop artist, not even to say R&B, like this is straight hardcore hip hop representing at Super Bowl. And I think ultimately that needs to be the bigger conversation. I said my piece already. I do think Lil Wayne should be on there anyways. But like I said, I don't feel like getting into it. And I hope that this puts an end to it. If you want to blame somebody, blame Jay-Z. But at the end of the day, move on from the conversation already. All right, in our second lead story, Donald Trump blames Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for latest assassination attempt. He said, the bullets are flying and it's only going to get worse. All right. Former President Donald Trump said the comments from Vice President Harris and Joe Biden may have contributed to the second attempt assassination against him. He suggested that what they said influenced the actions of the suspected gunman, Ryan Willis Ruth, over the weekend. The rhetoric is causing me to be shot at when I'm the one who is having to save the country and they are the ones destroying the country, both from inside and out. He also took a step further and shared a lengthy message on his social media platform. He said, the rhetoric lies as exemplified by the false statements by Comrade Kamala Harris during the rigged and highly partisan ABC debate and all the ridiculous lawsuits specifically designed to inflict damage on Joe's, then Kamala's political opponents, me, have taken politics in our country to a whole other level of hatred, abuse, and disturbance. Because of this communist left rhetoric, the bullets are flying and will only get worse. He added, allowing millions of people from places unknown to invade and take over our community is an unpardonable sin. Our borders must be closed and the terrorists, criminals, and mentally insane immediately removed from America's cities and towns, deported back to their country or regions. We want people to come into our country, but they must love our nation and come in legally and through a system of merit. This world is laughing at us as fools. They are stealing our jobs and our wealth. We cannot let them laugh any longer. Make America great again. Wow, man. Like this, I really refrain sometimes for saying when I think about Donald Trump because I don't want to seem like I'm swaying people who to vote for because I do not want this podcast to be political. But man, like the people that are on Donald Trump's side and believe the things that he says is just absolutely crazy. You would think that this was Joe Biden and Kamala Harris writing this about Donald Trump. Like he's the one that's inciting all of these crazy things. Like I talked with you guys yesterday about Ohio, where the Republican mayor for Ohio is like, hey, we love the Haitian people that are here. They're not here illegally. They're working hard. And when you talk to the people who employ them, they're like, they're great, hard, beautiful, working people. Done. Like, please, Donald Trump and JD Vance, stop, using Ohio Stanfield as part of your political, rhetoric because it's not true. The next day, Trump is like, these illegal migrants are taking our jobs. And now these illegal migrants are shooting at us. It was a white American who shot at you. They caught the guy. Like, Donald Trump's level of lying needs to be studied. He's either going completely crazy, and like he needs to be checked out, like Joe Biden level of like when we took him off the debate stage and we're like, yo, this guy cannot run for president again. Like he's either a blatant psychopathic liar or he's getting crazy because it just doesn't make sense. Like we know the guy who attempted to assassinate you. They have him in police custody. He's not an immigrant. He has nothing to do with the border. Like, wow. Like all due respect to the people who support and vote for Donald Trump. I just don't understand how you can read these things and be like, yeah, I'm voting for this guy. He's crazy. All right, in our third lead story, another crazy one, Elon Musk deletes a post that reads, no one is even trying to assassinate Biden and Kamala. You cannot make this stuff up. Listen to this, all right? Twitter CEO Elon Musk has removed a tweet that drew significant criticism after he questioned why nobody is attempting to assassinate Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. The tweet followed news of a second assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump in Florida. As previously reported, in response to a post asking why do they want to kill Donald Trump, the Tesla and SpaceX chief replied, "No one even wants to assassinate them." His comments sparked outrage amongst users on Twitter, and they were accusing Musk of inciting violence. One user remarked, "Elon Musk is inciting violence against Vice President Kamala Harris, and it's time for the US government to take action against them." Another stated, "Elon Musk just incited violence against Kamala. Yes, he did. Inciting someone to assassinate Kamala or Joe Biden to win the election is outrageous." This is actually starting to get a little scary. I mean, this is the richest man in the world, and this is what he's doing in his spare time, tweeting out these insane things. I'll read to you exactly what he wrote. Well, I think I read it to you in an article, but anyway, somebody wrote, "And they want to kill Donald Trump." And then he replied, "And no one is even trying to assassinate Biden and Kamala." And he put the thinking emoji. This is just, every time I talk about Elon Musk, I tell you guys the same thing. Elon Musk is one of the richest men in the world, but because he's not, let's say, a celebrity, I feel like he's chasing like this celebrity kind of like Kim Kardashian, Jay-Z kind of like figure. And he does things like this to inject himself into the culture, into the community, so he could be spoken about, because this could only be the only reason. Like, why is he talking about these things? Like, he's the CEO of Tesla. He owns Twitter, SpaceX. Like, what are you doing? Like, I'm just getting frustrated. All right, in our fourth and final lead story, son of alleged would-be Trump assassin Ryan Ruth speaks out. He claims his father hates ex-President Donald Trump, but is not a violent person. And he said, "I don't like Trump either." Ryan Ruth, 58 years old, has been identified as a suspect arrested in the alleged second assassination attempt of Donald Trump. While authorities continue to investigate the situation, his son is now speaking out in his defense. Orrin Ruth told Daily Mail that his father, Ryan, is not a fan of the Republican nominee. However, the 55-year-old insists that his dad is not violent and expressed his shock at hearing the allegations against him. "He's my dad, and all he's had is a couple of traffic tickets as far as I know. That's crazy. I know my dad. I love my dad. He's not a violent person." Orrin also emphasized that his father is a hardworking and great dad. He's a great dude, a nice guy, and he's worked his entire effing life. I don't know, man. This podcast today is about a bunch of weird people, man. I don't even have any comment, man. I want to go to quick news. All right, this brings us to quick news. Ring my bell. Whew, that was a very long lead stories. Happy to get to some hip hop and some music. Dame Dash says that Drake DM'd him and offered to buy his 1/3 share of Jay-Z's Reasonable Doubt album. Let's hear from Dame Dash himself. Take a listen.
Let's go back to the Drake thing.
Yeah, he made an offer, and I don't know if he's going to close, but I think it is interesting what's going on with the Super Bowl shit. For me, I think the best way would be for him to show up to the Super Bowl with a Roc-A-Fella chain, like a boss.
All right, I don't know if I really believe this. Like, where is your receipts, sir? Show me the DMs. What I think Dame is probably trying to do is he's trying to probably either scare Jay-Z into maybe Jay-Z being like, let me give you whatever he wants, 10 million or 50 million, whatever. Or what Dame is doing is he's trying to get Drake's attention. He probably DM'd Drake or text Drake and was like, yo, and he didn't answer him. And then maybe he's like, yo, let me put this online, see people's reaction. And people are like, yo, that'd be crazy for Drake to do whatever, blah, blah, blah. Because as you guys know, there's apparently probably beef between Jay-Z and Drake because Jay-Z selected Kendrick to be on the Super Bowl. And now you're going to have Not Like Us further, throwing shade towards Drake. But, all the reports that come out from like academics and his friend, from Drake's friends and academics, etc., is that Drake is unbothered and Drake couldn't care less. So who knows if there is really beef between Drake and Jay-Z? who knows? Like, we get so caught up with these celebrities and we think we know what's going on. For all we know, Drake and Jay-Z could be just talking in the background being like, hey, bro, cool. Yeah, doesn't matter. Maybe Jay was like, hey, just want to get your cosign. Like, are you cool? I'm not saying that that's happened, but I'm saying it could be possible, right? This story has come out now that Jay-Z has offered Drake the Super Bowl 2 times and Drake turned it down. And it was fact-checked by Elliot Wilson. We know that it's fact. So we like to think that we know everything that goes on, but we don't know anything, all right? So, yeah, I don't really believe this story from Dame. This is Dame trying to, ruffle some feathers and ruffle up as much money as he can because Dame is broke and he's trying to get as much as he can. This is his last hurrah. And I think the auction is minimum like 2 or 3 million and he has around $4 million in debt. So anything above 4, he gets to pocket, right? So of course, the last piece of equity that he owns, he's trying to get as much as he can. So I'm not mad at him for doing this. I'm just saying, I don't believe you, Dame. All right, in our second quick story, Shannon Sharpe drops new merch inspired by viral IG live sex incident. It looks like Shannon Sharpe is turning his shortcomings into winnings. Following his sexual encounter while on Instagram Live, the retired NFL player turned media personality has dropped new merch inspired by the crazy ordeal. In a now deleted post of Shannon Sharpe announcing the release of a t-shirt, he wrote, "That's my Michelle's t-shirts dropped." Look, people are I think that's why he deleted it because people are kind of like saying, hey, you came out on your show and you said, I'm really sorry. I'm embarrassed by this, et cetera, et cetera. You apologize. But then also when you're on your show, you're making jokes about her needing an ice pack and you being up, keeping her up all night. And then you release merch that says, "That's my Michelle nightclap film department." So like, are you sorry that happened and you're releasing merchandise? Like, are you sorry that it happened or you don't care that it happened and you're releasing merch? Like it's the way that Shannon Sharpe goes about things. And that I always have Shannon Sharpe's back. I'm a huge supporter, but I agree with a little bit of backlash that he's getting with this. It kind of is seeing a little skeptical now, right? Like, let's get beyond the fact if it was staged or if it wasn't staged, because how do you go on live accidentally? But if you're going to come out and apologize and then be very kind of like jokey and unapologetic during your apology, you're going to get even more backlash. And now you're selling merch and saying that your merch sold out and just, Shannon, you had a great 2024. You got a good deal on First Take. You got great numbers on YouTube. You have 2 podcasts going. Bro, I would stay away from this. Take all of this merchandise stuff down and just get back to doing what you're doing. And that's being a great sport analyst and a great, amazing, one of the best in the game podcaster. Just get back to that, man. Refocus, bro. In our third quick story, Tito Jackson has died at the age of 70. For those of you who don't know, you younger people, Tito Jackson, Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson's brother, part of the Jackson 5, one of the greatest groups of all time. Yes, that was not even in my era. It was in my parents' era. But growing up in a black home, a black Jamaican home, you heard the Jackson 5 every day, all right? So I do know Tito Jackson. Very sad news. Tito Jackson has died at the age of 70, according to Entertainment Tonight. Stephen Manning, a longtime friend of the Jackson family, tells the outlet that Tito passed away. Well, this article is from yesterday, so I think he passed away maybe on Monday. We are a little bit late in reporting this, but I think he passed away on Monday. While an official cause of death has not been determined, Manning believes that Tito suffered a heart attack while driving from New Mexico to Oklahoma. Tito is the third of 10 children of the legendary Jackson family, making him the older brother to both Michael and Janet Jackson. He leaves behind 3 sons. He also leaves behind 9 grandchildren. Updates are developing. We send our condolences to the Jackson family. Yeah, really sad, man. Tito, obviously not nearly as famous as Michael and Janet, but still, like I said earlier, a member of one of the greatest groups in music history of all time. So this is really sad, and definitely rest in peace to Tito Jackson. All right, in our fourth quick story, Kevin Hart says he regrets throwing shade at Katt Williams over Tiffany Haddish. During a sit-down with Charlamagne the God, Kevin Hart expressed his regrets for coming at Katt Williams in defense of Tiffany Haddish. The comic also addresses rumors of him being an industry plant. All right, shout out to Charlemagne and this new, I don't know if it's a podcast or this new kind of sit down thing on YouTube that he's doing. I did watch a little bit of the interview. Y'all know I'm a big Char fan, so I'll definitely finish this up. But here's a little clip of Kevin Hart talking about Katt Williams. Here it is.
I think there's probably one moment I've actually talked about Katt publicly.
Do you regret that?
I should never address him. I don't have to. But like, why?
So, he's just basically saying whatever. He was defending Tiffany Haddish. And, the apology was kind of like Shannon Sharpe's apology. It wasn't like, Matt, I'm sorry. It's like, I'm sorry because I don't have to address him. You know what I mean? Like, it's more like, not I'm sorry for it, but just like, I'm too big to have needed to address that. So these two obviously don't love each other. No love lost. And it is what it is, right? But all right, in our fifth and final quick story, Eve recalls receiving backlash from Jay-Z and other men in the music industry. She says the audacity of these men. While reflecting on her journey in the music industry, Eve opened up about her challenges she's faced with men doubting her talent. During an interview with The Times, Eve shared that on the day of her debut album drop, Jay-Z called to congratulate her, but also issued a warning. He reportedly advised her not to get her hopes up, allegedly saying female rappers don't really do that well. Despite this, she went on to sell 2 million copies. But it wasn't just Jay-Z. Other music executives told her to just get pregnant and quit. She says others were deliberately rude to her in meetings. The audacity these men had, Eve said. Now I have age and experience on my side. Nobody is going to be coming at me like that. I don't really appreciate Eve kind of like throwing in Jay into that, where if there's some man saying get pregnant and quit, that's one thing. Jay-Z calling you and saying, yo, congrats and everything, whatever, but just want to give you a heads up. Like it's hard for females in this industry. Like I could see Jay coupling that with just being like, just manage your expectations, don't blow your money. Just, be careful. It's not easy for women out here. That's what I'm just assuming now, like, don't get mad at me, but I'm just saying like, I feel like that call is more of a call of like a big bro than, the other guys who in the industry are being like, yo, get pregnant and quit. Like, that's not really cool that she threw him in there like that, but who knows? And that's it for quick news. All right, this brings us to question of the day. This comes actually from Kourtney Kardashian, and she asked, what age should you stop co-sleeping with your children? When it comes to Kourtney Kardashian's children sleeping in the bed with her, she's unbothered. The reality star who welcomed son Rocky 13th Barker with husband Travis Barker in November 2023 opened up about her decision to co-sleep with kids rather than putting them in a crib of their own. On an episode of Skinny Confidential, Him and Her podcast, she said, as a mother, I like to do what feels natural and instinctively to me. And that for me is what it is. And of course, I also read all the benefits and hear all the benefits. It's something that mammals have been doing since the time of existence. Kourtney shared that her last son, Manson, slept with him until he was 7 years old. At a certain time, I would put him in his bed in his room, and then he would come into my room. And then at 7, he just stopped and he was like, I'm done with you. I'm sleeping in my own room. And then my daughter slept with me pretty much until she was 11. So then now the site asks, at what age should your children start sleeping alone? All right, so I'll read some of the answers. Somebody said, I'm not reading this. I won't take any of her advice. All right, Natasha said, hell, I'm 27 and I still go down and lay in bed with my mama. That's really cute. Dominique Chin said, whenever you want to, that's your children. Pretty Penny said, my son is 16 and every now and again he comes in my room and falls asleep next to me. He's done the same thing with his great grandmother. I'm thankful that he still wants to be near us now and again because these teenagers don't really want to be bothered. I love that. Pretty Slime said, I'm 20 and I've been knocked out in my mama's bed. Another person said, no age. My mother's bed is a safe space to confide and catch up. I'm 36 years old and today is the 4th anniversary of my mama's passing. So when I tell you I would be glad to be in my mother's bed, My answer is never. Cherish the time before it's too late. Oh, it's really sad. Free Spirit said, all the mamas in the comments, we truly are our children's safe space. Yes, you are, for sure. What else? Let me see. Somebody else said, I'm 28 years old, and when my mother comes over, we have a sleepover. I love gossiping with her. All right, you don't really hear anybody knocking this, so I thought we would maybe get some arguments in the comment section, but whatever. Let me see what this lady says. Monice Slaughter said, I get chewed up for this all the time, but I don't care. My son is 17 years old and refuses to leave my bed. So until then, it is what it is. Okay, I don't know if your 14-year-old should be sleeping with you all the time, every day of the week, but hey, you do whatever you want to do. So truth be told, I used to love sleeping in my mom's bed when I was a kid. Oh my gosh, from 6, 7, 8, and 9 years old, I used to have a lot of bad nightmares as a kid. I don't know why. I would wake up in the middle of the night and sneak into my parents' room and sneak into my mom's arms, and she would like hold me and hide me from my dad because my dad would be so mad and be like, yo, you're a grown man, you're growing up. Well, not a grown man, but you're a big boy now. Go and sleep in your room. And he would yell and force at me to go into my own bed. So I would literally have to sneak in. I even remember one night he got mad and he was like, you get out of bed right now. And I was too scared to go in my bed. So I fell asleep in the hallway. But yeah, so my mom was like, I don't care. That's my son. He can come at any time he wants to. But my dad would always kick me out. He's such a hater. All right, this brings us to sports news. It's a sad, sad day for my Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs running back Isiah Pacheco is expected to land on the injury reserve with a fibia injury he suffered Sunday versus the Bengals, meaning he will miss a minimum of 4 weeks and quite possibly longer. Oh my gosh. I was just actually telling my godson the other day, like, this is the secret to Kansas City and why they will go back to back and three-peat is Pacheco, because every defense is always worrying about Patrick Mahomes throwing that deep ball, his receivers, and all of that stuff. And Pacheco, tightens up that defense, right? Because if you're going to play so many men back, of course, it's going to give more room for Pacheco. And I love Pacheco. This guy is crazy. His running style is like, that's my kind of running back. So a lot of people are saying that, this is not a big deal or whatever. I even heard that on First Take, Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe. I disagree. I think this is a big deal. I think this changes their game plan for the next 4 weeks. And if it does last a little bit longer, then come playoff time, I don't know. Does it make Pacheco fresher for playoff time? Or do you need, I'm the type of person that I think you need a season to get warmed up getting into the playoffs. You don't want to go into the playoffs cold. But look, I guess the best thing is that it happened now at the beginning of the season. Hopefully he can get better. We definitely need him towards the end of the season and in the playoffs. All right, so that brings us to the end of the episode. Thank you so much for kicking with me. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for Wednesday's episode. Before I let you go, I just want to remind you of all the ways to keep up with the Trying Out Loud podcast. If you're used to watching the show on YouTube or listening to it on podcast platforms, please try to check me out Monday through Friday from 11 to 12 on CFQR600.com. You can log in from anywhere in the world. Just go to the website and click the listen live button. And by the way, if you have been on the site lately, they were changing a little something with the play button. I did get a couple of emails that it wasn't working for some people. It wasn't working for me either. We are going to update that and change it. It should be updated within a day or two, but you could still click and listen live. If the new player is there, just click that play button a couple of times. It will work, all right? Anyways, vice versa, for those who are used to listening on the radio, if you cannot always catch me on the radio from 11 to 12, don't worry. You can always check me out on YouTube or on podcast platforms. Just go to your desired site, type in Trent Out Loud. The show will pop up. Don't forget to hit the follow or subscribe button so that you can be notified every time we upload a new show, and we do upload daily. Lastly, for those of you who are like me and like to watch video, there's YouTube and also Spotify now supports video, so you can check us out on Spotify. Please check me out on any social platform at Trent Out Loud and follow the production company Exclusivity Media on Instagram. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I hope you have a great day. Peace. Oh, and stay tuned for Don on CFQR600.com. I keep forgetting I got to say that every show. Stay tuned for my man Don Smooth on CFQR600 for the lunchtime mix. Shout out to Don Smooth. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It's your boy, Trent Out Loud. Peace! For more content, you could subscribe, download, or listen to the Trent Out Loud podcast wherever you listen to your podcast, or you could watch us on YouTube. Just search Trent Out Loud. For showtimes and updates, you could follow us on all social platforms at Trent Out Loud. Go to signupexpert.com/Trent. Once you sign up for all betting apps and get all your bonuses and get all your rewards, go to your app store and download BetStamp and use promo code TOL.